Let's jump right into this explainer. Today we're unpacking something that might sound, well, a bit like a purely administrative task, but it's actually the absolute bedrock of global healthcare. We're talking about data integrity and good documentation practices, and how they serve as the ultimate shield, protecting patients from substandard and falsified medicines. In pharma, you know the golden rule. If it isn't documented correctly, it just didn't happen.
So, think about this for a second. How do we actually verify the authenticity and safety of a life-saving drug as it zigzags across the globe? When a patient takes a pill, they're putting their faith in this massive, invisible global supply chain. They obviously can't test the chemical makeup themselves, right? Their trust is completely 100% reliant on the data traveling right alongside that physical product. From the exact second the active ingredients are weighed in the lab, to the final packaging, straight through to dispensing.
Okay, here's a quick look at our agenda. We'll start with the patient safety stakes, move into the Alcoa Plus principles, then cover good documentation practices, securing computerized systems, and wrap it all up with quality risk management.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the patient safety stakes.
To really get the global picture here, we have to understand why every single piece of data in the medical supply chain is literally a potential outcome for a human life. When the World Health Organization talks about traceability, they aren't just talking about logistics or counting boxes in a warehouse. Traceability is this critical mechanism for visibility. The systems tracking a product from the factory to the patient are designed specifically to let regulators respond quickly. With real-time data, authorities can make absolutely sure only authorized products are circulating, and they can immediately spot red flags that might point to falsified drugs.
And here's the crucial part. If that data fails, or if traceability uncovers a defect, it triggers massive regulatory action. Just look at this quote defining a field safety corrective action. It really highlights the gravity of what we're dealing with here. Something as simple as a transcription error, or maybe a lost temperature log, could mean a manufacturer literally has to recall an entire batch of life-saving medicine just to prevent severe patient harm. The data is our primary line of defense.
Moving right along to Section 2, the Alcoa Plus principles. To stop those kinds of disasters from happening and to maintain absolute, unquestionable trust in the manufacturing process, the industry relies on a core framework. You've probably heard of them, the Alcoa Plus principles. These are the golden rules of data. But before we break down the acronym, let's just define data integrity itself. It's a continuous state. Data has to be complete, consistent, and accurate, not just when it's jotted down, but throughout its entire life cycle, from creation all the way to archival. If data gets compromised, tweaked, or deleted without authorization at any point, the physical product it belongs to is essentially compromised too. It's exactly like maintaining a strict legal chain of custody for evidence. This standard breaks down exactly what characteristics every single piece of data has to have. A is for attributable, meaning we always know exactly who did it. No shared generic logins allowed. L is for legible, so anyone can actually read and understand it. C is contemporaneous, which is huge. You have to record the action the exact moment it happens, not just at the end of your shift when you're trying to remember. O is original, meaning the very first capture of the data. The second A is accurate, meaning it's scientifically valid and precise. And finally, that plus at the end ensures the data stays complete, consistent, enduring, and available for its entire required retention period, the whole shebang. All right, Section 3. Good documentation practices. So how do we take the theory of Alcoa Plus and actually apply it in real time on the factory floor? Well, that's where good documentation practices, or GDP, come in. Like we said, the data lifecycle isn't static. GDP has to be enforced at every single step along the way. From the second a lab tech creates a record by logging a sample weight, through the independent review of that data, to reporting it, and all the way to the day that record is locked up in a long-term archive. Vulnerabilities can pop up at any phase, so our controls really have to cover the whole cycle. Now, while the industry is definitely going digital, a lot of facilities still use hybrid or legacy paper systems. And let me tell you, the manual controls for paper are incredibly strict. You can absolutely never use correction fluid or erasable inks. No way. If you make a mistake, you can't just scribble it out and obscure the original entry. You have to use a single line crossout so the error is still totally legible. Then you sign it, date it, and write down a clear reason for the change. On top of that, forms have to be controlled and sequentially numbered, so nothing can be secretly swapped out or thrown away. Let's look at Section 4, Securing Computerized Systems. Because human error is pretty much inevitable, and trying to manage mountains of paper is super risky, the industry has shifted heavily toward computerized systems. But, as you can guess, these systems bring their own highly complex compliance challenges.
We're actively replacing the risks of manual clipboards, where someone could easily just write a number down wrong, with validated software. These digital systems are designed to automatically pull data directly from instruments, like a pH meter or a scale, which completely eliminates that human transcription step. But for us to trust them, these systems need rigorous independent verification and rock-solid system-generated tracking.
Which brings us to the most critical piece of any computerized system, the audit trail. Think of the audit trail like a built-in, unblinking security camera for your metadata. It silently and securely tracks a micro-narrative of everything that happens. If a user changes a processing parameter, the audit trail catches exactly who did it, what the original value was, what the new value is, the exact timestamp, and the required justification for why they changed it. And the best part, that trail cannot be disabled or overwritten. To keep that validated, secure state, organizations have to enforce some seriously strict IT controls. First off, shared or generic passwords are a massive no-go. Otherwise, you totally destroy the attributable part of Alcoa Plus. Also, system admins have to lock down the computer's internal clock and time zones so users can't tamper with them. You need strict segregation of duties, meaning the person entering the data shouldn't have the admin rights to just delete it later. And finally, management has to conduct routine, risk-based reviews of those electronic audit trails to proactively catch any weird anomalies.
And our final section, Section 5, Quality Risk Management.
So how does leadership tie all of these technical and procedural controls together to actually prevent data failures before they happen? They use a structured framework called quality risk management. Management relies on specific tools, with a major one being the Data Integrity Risk Assessment, or DIRA. This isn't just taking a wild guess. It's a highly systematic process where teams literally map out the entire flow of data across the facility. They look closely at where data is acquired, processed, and stored to find inherent vulnerabilities and weak links. Once they spot those, they can put targeted technical and organizational controls in place before a failure turns into a regulatory nightmare or, worse, a threat to patient safety.
But remember, it's not just about buying better software. It's about strategy and culture. Tools like failure mode and effects analysis help prioritize the absolute biggest risks. But even more importantly, senior management has to build an open, transparent quality culture. People need to feel completely safe reporting errors or anomalies without worrying about getting in trouble. Plus, anytime data gets excluded from a batch record, you have to have a rigorous documented scientific justification for it. It's this continuous process of verification to make sure our focus stays 100% on protecting critical quality attributes.
I'll leave you to reflect on this one crucial question. In a world where data is literally the absolute only proof of product quality, can we ever truly separate the integrity of our records from the lives of the patients we serve? The answer, unequivocally, is no. Good documentation practices and unshakable data integrity are not just annoying regulatory hurdles. They are the ultimate shield protecting human life. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I hope you walk away with a profound respect for the data behind the medicine.